Hi, my name is Molly Miller, and this is my senior thesis project. I'm doing ocean refinement. Approximately how many plastic molecules pieces are decomposing and floating in our oceans as of 2019? Is it A, 34 million, B, 24 billion, C, 1 trillion, D, 5 trillion, or E, 5 billion? The answer is D, 5 trillion pieces of plastic. Here's my table of contents. Here's my overview and interest. The reason why I chose ocean refinement is because I am obsessed with the sea and all marine life. Ever since I was a child, I would always go to the beach and always beg to go to the beach, and I would follow seabirds, pick up seashells, and it would take my mom an hour to get me out of the ocean itself. I'm going to College of Charleston for a major in oceanography, mostly to explore the ocean and see what I can do to help the ocean's current condition. I live by the beach, and I'm very, very concerned about the ocean's health and animals' lives that are in danger. My argument is that the government should create more jobs and funding opportunities to save and refine the ocean. The background of the topic is in 1972, products that new technologies had made started to get thrown into the ocean when the world increased in population and consumer product intake, meaning that when we started creating all of these machines that created plastics and handheld things that you would keep around your house, it started becoming a problem because we would throw them in the trash and all of that trash would end up in the ocean. We dump more than 8 million metric tons of plastic waste and trash into our oceans and the trash bins. Most of our ocean's trash sits at the bottom of the ocean. After it decomposes, it starts to get heavy and then just sits at the bottom of the ocean where most of our unknown animals live. Dead zones are growing around the world, meaning that their oxygen levels are decreasing. The history of the argument is that people who are for jobs and funding towards our oceans would say making more jobs will clean our oceans faster. Funding should expand so marine life can be saved. The world could make money off of the plastic and the ocean's life will flourish. But people who are against jobs and funding for the ocean would say there are already some jobs and they don't make a profit. We are recycling. Ocean refinement is a waste of money and won't make the ocean become healthy again, saying that what we did to the ocean is going to be permanent and that's just how we're going to live. And I simply do not agree with that. The opposing argument. The equipment costs are too much to pay for. Cleaning the ocean is a chore and not a job. The government has already loaned money to the Ocean Cleanup, who was founded by Boylon when he was 18. There is recycling options so the trash doesn't get into the ocean. It will only cost the economy millions of dollars. There is no way to take out all of the plastic from the ocean. There will be no profits and the plastic has no other place to go. My refute to that is sponsors and taxes could be a solution to all of our funding opportunities and our current economic situation. There are jobs already in place but need to be expanded. There are not enough jobs and not enough people who are interested in helping the ocean and who would actually do something to restore the original oceans. The ocean cleanup has made over $2 million on refining the ocean, and they have created so many ways for people to change out plastics, and they have also created mechanical boats that would sweep and take up all the floating plastic. And not all recycling is trusted. We have a problem here in Mount Pleasant where we think that we're recycling and we're doing good, but some recycling will actually end up in the garbage patches where they will burn garbage or they will just throw it on landfills. We can take most of the plastic out and keep more from entering our seas. Meaning we can still take as much plastic as we can out now before it's too late and before all of our animals die out, and it just causes a great break in our food chain. We can make profits by using the plastic for other products, as in making new plastic bottles like water bottles, not ones that you would buy in the store, but ones that, you could take on a bike ride and have it forever. Or you could make, some people make art out of plastic products to save, to save all of that from going into the ocean. There will be other people who want refinery jobs. I know I spelled that wrong, but I intended it to say refinery, meaning people who can work in factories that will go through water and just completely purify it. Subpoint 1, marine animals. The creation of dead zones is a huge, huge problem. When dead zones start to become a bigger problem later in life, we will have nowhere for the fish to go, and they will end up coming on our shores and dying. Plastic can be unintentional traps for turtles, fish, dolphins, seabirds, sharks, and even more. When eaten by the animals, it can cause them to starve. It actually sits in their stomach, and their acid levels are not high enough to completely digest the plastic, so it will sit in their stomach and they will actually start to starve because they have eaten the plastic. It breaks the food chain for marine life because when fish die and there's not a lot of fish left, sharks, dolphins, and seabirds, and even turtles cannot have all the food that they can, and they will start to starve and they will start to die out themselves. After decomposition of the plastic, corals will suffocate and bleach. Corals are actually living, and they have algae that live in them and that soak up the nutrients around them. And once plastic pretty much decomposes, all of that toxic material will go into them and start to slowly make them get sick, which causes them to bleach, but they will not die. But that causes a major, major problem, just like how it is for the great coral reefs when there are no more fish, because all of the coral has ended up bleaching. After all these effects, it will slowly start to affect the human nature itself. Here is an example video of everything that I just talked about. Oops. We'll just have to play it on a small screen. We'll skip through to the very last part. This is a sea turtle that has a straw stuck in the nose. That was disturbing, but it is a huge, huge problem. Now, the other issue is these dead zones, these hypnotic zones, and you can see that it's all around the world, and there's even some in Australia. There is a lot more in Europe and America, here in the US of the USA, and these hypoxic areas cause a lot of issues for all of these fish, and they end up going in the white areas, which is not where they're originally from. And you can see all the blue levels are where we have all the oxygen levels. And everywhere that you see a red dot, you don't see any milligrams of O2, which is just oxygen levels. All of our oxygen levels have been taken down by a lot, also because of the heating of the earth and the plastic. My subpoint 2 is that the ocean's purpose and chemical makeup is so the most abundant chemicals that are in the ocean and that make up the ocean are chloride, sodium, sulfate, magnesium, calcium, and potassium. 55% is chloride, 30.6% is sodium, 7.7% is sulfate, 3.7% is magnesium, and calcium and potassium are very, very low numbers, and they're very small. And then there are minor salts that are also in that. My questions are, what does the plastic do when mixed with these chemicals? What does the ocean do for the earth? What percent of the planet is the ocean? The answers to those are, when plastic fully decomposes or is even just floating in the ocean, it can create a lot of issues for the chemicals that are in the ocean that make up the ocean. So it will absorb those chemicals and pretty much destroy them, or teleport other toxic chemicals around the world and kill most of our fish, and that causes problem for us because we fish, and if these shrimp boats and these fish boats can't make any money, then we will go home empty-handed and unemployment will start to boom. What does the ocean do for the earth? It does a lot. It absorbs all of our CO2 outtake, meaning every time you drive a car or every time you breathe out, it will be soaked up into trees and into the ocean. But it is starting to become a huge problem because we are polluting our ocean, and the ocean also regulates the climate. 71% of the earth is the ocean. Subpoint 3. Jobs for the unemployment right now that are already in session, that are already in place, are plastic banks, like the photo all the way to the right, where these people are called plastic pickers. They go around mounds and mounds and mounds of trash and plastic, and they pick them up and they put them back into the plastic banks so that they can make money. And that those two pictures are from the plastic banks in Indonesia, which is the biggest problem. The ocean cleanup, boat fleets that go out and fish out plastic that they find, and for ocean. The jobs that we can create are mechanical engineers that specialize on ocean cleaning equipment, more boat teams, more charity work, and more plastic banks. More paid cleanup workers so people can go home and feed their families. I interviewed Albert George, who is the CVO of Conservation, who works at South Carolina Aquarium just downtown, and he generally studies the sea levels and what we can do to protect our lands and ocean, but he also talks a lot about plastic itself and our pollution. His response was, there are ways to clean. We can go out as a team on boats, beaches, islands, and pick up and take out as much trash as possible. The world has many volunteer jobs for whoever applies. The ocean's condition is not safe for any living organism. There is millions of tons of plastic trashes, oils, and toxins that were dumped into the ocean, and we need to do more as a community to save the sea. The challenge is we can pick up as much human waste as we can, create more jobs that revolve around plastic and cleaning the ocean, pass more laws, and give charity and funding to trusted ocean companies like the Ocean Cleanup and For Ocean. Always recycle, even though some of our recycled bits and trash do end up in the ocean. There are still some that do not and actually get recycled. We can find good alternatives for plastic, like metal straws, metal water bottles, and even little bags to hold our groceries. Create and cleaning technology so we can control our oceans and restore the animals' habitat. My conclusion is the government should create more jobs and funding opportunities for the ocean refinement because our marine life is dying. The ocean is a major factor of the Earth's existence and all life. It could lower the unemployment rates all around the world. We can save humanity and our beloved Earth and animals with your help. Here's my picture links. And here's my works cited. Questions? Thank you.